inform each and everyone here about the structure of this short program. After this powerful prayer, what we need to do is to at least introduce one another to maybe, because it's like no time I don't know anyone here apart from me. Fadila, you can start when we need introduction.
I'm missing Fadila.
Okay.
Only the
Yeah, only the yeah, because Abdul Rahman.
Okay, I'm Suleiman Ahali.
Abdul Jalil.
Yeah,
Abdul
that's right.
That's good. So from now, what we need to do is we would like to get what you call an input from each and everyone here in regards to the particular question that we give out. We want to see how we can give an oral input as to how we can develop the project. But the project is almost 1 year now, because it just like so it's 1 month to 1 year. So why government of Ghana should embrace basic income in order to end extreme poverty? That was the question. And since we've been able to do a thorough research, that is why we are here as qualified for the participants. So like each and everyone, if you have any input regarding the what do you call it, the particular question, just a short minute exercise so that we can listen to you and take video of it so that it will be a secondary data for us as we move along. Thank you. The project was initiated almost, that was almost what do you call it? We are in 2017. That's the tail end of 2017. And it was initiated by Abdesalam Mahmoudi and Josepi. Josepi is not known here because no one knows Josepi unless those who are what they call it in the project, what they call it, who are executing the project. But Abdesalam have been the what they call it, trusted community champion of the project. Basically, we can say he's the country director of the project. And Suleiman Abdurrahman, Mutala, and Ben are just the volunteers. We see to each other. We are assisting him in order to execute a very successful and fruitful project. So Abdesalam initiated the project. It was called GiveDirect because at first we were using a currency called a digital currency called Dash Digital Cash. So because of that, the project was called GiveDirect. So as we move along, the angel investors were coming from all sectors. So we realized that we cannot limit it to that particular currency. Because if I am using Bitcoin or I have maybe a smart cash and I'm going to invest, doesn't mean that I will invest under a Dash project. Because most of the coins are Ravelry coins. Let me just put it that way. So because of that, we held a meeting and changed the name from GiveDirect to GiveDirect. And basically, the main aim is to end extreme poverty in the world. So it's a world vision, not just a Northern Ghana vision or Ghanaian vision. It's a world vision. So just that we are starting it in Ghana and Northern region to be precise. And we are in 3 communities for now. That is Savelugu, Kundungu, and Yankbala. That's the communities we are executing this project currently. We had the data on we had the data on the project hasn't started over there yet. So I think before the trusted community champion will make a comment, we would like to hear from the participants why government of Ghana, or what should we do so that government of Ghana can embrace this particular project or initiative, so that we can collectively end extreme poverty in our various communities. That is why we are here. Thank you so much. We invite maybe anyone who is interested in giving it. Thank you.
Very important for any developing country, Ghana inclusive. But if we look at the concept, I don't see it as the government of Ghana giving money to the poor. I would prefer to see it as the government of Ghana investing in his own citizens. Because if they give you, let's say, 500 Ghana cedis today, and then they give you the next one 500 Ghana cedis, you will be able to set up your own business. If you set up this business, you will be obliged to pay tax to the states. So if we look at the bigger picture, it's not like the government of Ghana is giving them free money in order for them to live. That the government of Ghana is giving them some money to start something that they can contribute back to the country. So at large, we'll be developing our own country using our own money. Let us look at the things that we spend on every day, as like the government of Ghana spend on every day. Can we tell the number of the amount of money like politicians have spent on campaign trails? What impact has this money brought to us as a country? But if we can channel this kind of money into people who are really eager to do something, then I think in the long run we will chase out poverty in Ghana, and Ghana will become one of the best countries in the world.
That would be very great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I think I would like to. My good brother has made a very wonderful submission, but I just want to add to what he said. I think the concept of basic income should be on need basis. Is there a need for government to actually assist those in the grip of poverty? And if that question is yes, then why isn't government actually doing it? You see, government owes its citizens not just a social obligation, but a moral obligation too. Because in as much as some people are at the higher hierarchy of life and others are lower, they are all collectively citizens of the country. It is on the development agenda that every government rules into power. So it is important that development should be all inclusive. It should cover the entire breadth of the country. It wouldn't be very prudent and wise for one particular sector of the economy to be developing at the expense of another. You take the south and the north, and look, there's a very sharp contrast development-wise. So basic income is a way of actually bridging that gap and also assisting those who are not able to assist themselves. I think that we should look at the moral obligation government has to its citizens. If I'm willing to go and queue and vote you into power, it is because I think that you, by your coming into power, you should have some benefit to me. That's why I voted you. So I would like the government to actually give that benefit to all those it is actually supposed and entitled to benefit.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's not inviting more input.
Maybe in this particular family, their need isn't getting a trade for them, but then their need is food stuff. So when you get an occupation for them to do, you're doing them no good. So investing in this will help them find what exactly they want to do and use it for what is beneficial to them.
That's powerful. Thank you so much.
I think my brother talked about investment, and that is about spending money in order to get more money, isn't it? But then, if you want to get money because you think that you have money, it means that you have to do some work. But in Ghana here, especially in northern Ghana, some people are not able to even meet their physiological needs. I mean, what they actually need in order to be able to live as human beings, they lack it. That's why it's important for us to consider looking at basic income. I mean, a number of interventions have been rolled out by government. One example has been mentioned by my sister, the LEAP, Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty, But then it's not widespread. It covers less than 5% of the population. That means that it's not enough. So if an issue of basic income is introduced into the system, I think a lot more people will be covered and protected as a way of social safety nets. But we can do that easily if we begin to look at, the use of technology, digital currency to do that. It's going to avoid corruption and it's going to increase productivity. Because some people, they just need some little support to be able to go into trade or to be able to go into farming. You understand? So if we begin to look at these things in a technological way, by making sure that we use the digital currency system to do that, I think it's going to help us. And again, it's going to serve as, a social security of a sort. because we have all been seeing how those who have retired, some of them are living comfortable life, you understand, because they have something to rely on at the end of every month. But there are people who are highly marginalized, they are poor, they don't have access to basic income. I mean, because of that, they are not able to live, you know, a meaningful life. Okay, so it's important for us to, you know, consider that. The last aspect I want to talk about in terms of that is about economic empowerment. Our government is mandated by law to empower us economically, socially, morally, you know, religiously, politically, everything. But the most important aspect of these rights, I think, is economic rights. You know, your right to earn a living. Okay. Now, if you are not lucky to be educated, it means that the possibility of you gaining something, you know, will be very slim. If you are not lucky to, you know, come from a very good background, you know, you will not be able to live a comfortable life. It means that you are handicapped economically. Okay? But when the concept of, you know, basic income is introduced or is embraced by government of Ghana, you know, a lot more people will be empowered economically. And that will go a long way to increase our productivity in the country, and we will have a country that is full of people living a happier lifestyle. Thank you.
In respect of government embracing the idea of basic income, is that we are not only asking government to embrace the idea, but we are looking at it in the extreme end. Why is government supposed to do it? Because people who are within that extreme poverty level are even more. And these people are exposed to a whole lot of societal dangers. And even if we want our politicians to look at it in the political dimension, these are the category of people, sometimes they don't vote based on their conscience. The reason is that they don't have anything to sustain their lives. And so, if the government of Ghana is able to embrace the idea, and just as they have started some projects that are gearing towards ensuring that we eliminate this extreme poverty, like the LEAP program and others, if they do that, because some people just need to survive, they are not interested in doing business. So if that is not their need, just as our sister mentioned, if that is not their need and you push it onto them, that particular agenda of empowering them economically is not going to work. But then the person just wants something to put food on the table so that they don't go to sleep with empty stomachs. So basically, the concept of basic income just towards ensuring that people at the extreme end of the poverty line are able to sustain themselves and live a happier life. So I think, in my opinion, if government of Ghana actually wants to ensure that the people are happy, just as the government owes them a responsibility to make them happy, then it means that the only way, or one of the best ways to deal with people's unhappiness, is to let them feed themselves. That is by way of providing them with an income at least that will put them at a particular level that they can begin to think. Most children are not in school just because they felt that, especially if you go to our typical remote areas, they'll tell you that when I woke up, I didn't actually have food to eat, so that is why I didn't go to school. Now, those of us who are in the classroom, we have had encounters of this nature. A child will miss school for like 1 week. Then the following week, the child is in class, you ask the child, last week I didn't see you in school. Or say, when I come, I don't know what to eat. You understand that? So at the end of the day, if government, families of this nature is placed on this, platform that provides, basic income for them, at least the children would grow up and go through the educational system, for which government is now making it free. What they just need is to sustain their lives, and the next day they can go to class. So that the parents will not worry their heads about what is my ward going to eat before going to school free. So if we don't look at it in that angle and maybe persuading government to embrace the idea of this basic income, all the efforts we make, all the social interventions that we put in place that is supposed to curb the issue of illiteracy in the country, then it means that we will not go anywhere with these agendas if we don't tackle the issue of basic income. Because that child needs to feed before going to the classroom to study for free. So if that child is going to that classroom with empty stomach, do you think that free education system is going to work? It's not going to work. Because we want them to move out of illiteracy by way of gaining certain, knowledge that is formal, at least, so that the families will not continue to dwell in extreme poverty. So that tomorrow, in our part of the world, we are looking at education in a way of you finish, you get a job. That is where you have a successful education. So the families are looking at it in that direction. They want to send their children to school, but they don't have the food for them to eat before they go to school. So the issue of basic income will place the food on the table of the extreme poor, so that tomorrow, the next day, then the days ahead, they will get food and they will be able to go to class. So I think if government actually wants to succeed in almost all the social intervention programs, that is geared towards not bringing basic income to bear on the lives of the people, then it means that most of the social intervention projects are going to be a failure. So in my opinion, I think in this angle, if government does accept it, especially in looking at it in the way of digitalizing the system, so that the money doesn't end in the pockets of others. Because I think the LEAP project is basically, at first until now, when they are doing it through the e-switch way, it was tabletop. You go, they cash you the money on the table. So at the end of the day, you can't even tell how much money government is disbursing to you. But if we do it in that digitalized way, like the GiveDirect has started, even the community champion himself cannot even get access to the amount of money that is given to the women. If the concept is actually towards that. So it means that if government embrace it and take it onto the digital platform, I think the issue of, just as my senior brother have mentioned, the issue of corruption, the issue of the money ending up in the wrong hands is going to be kept. So if we are looking at it in that angle, then it means that we have to digitalize it.
Thank you so much for the wonderful submission. And having gone through all the issues, you were the very people who were, what they call it, considered to be people who have written in line with the idea we are pushing forward. So now our challenge is, after this, what they call this great program, we would like to see more of a campaign from our participants, so that people who are not aware of GiveDirect project will get to know GiveDirect projects. Because this kind of project is something that works celebration. Because a child from nowhere, a child from what they call it, a land of a beneficiary, let me put it that way, who has faced the challenges that the current communities we are executing the project are facing, have identified a need in a society that is what? For extreme poverty. And having identified the need, tries my person to network himself very well to get this particular pension ease project into the land of what they call it, northern Ghana. Let me put it that way. So basically the main motive was that we are supposed to go global. And before we go global, you have to have a baseline where you test the project and see how visible or how feasible the project will be. So that was why we chose these three communities. The communities were chosen by the donors themselves. We gave out the map and they chose the communities. So we're using 25 meters. 25 meters, right? So they were looking at the nearness to the capital city. the villages that were maybe near to the capital city. So that was why the first people who were likely to be selected was from Savlebu, followed by Kumungu and Dampala. So basically that is just a brief aspect of the project. Now I would like us to listen to the trusted community champion so that he give a detailed, what they call explanation to the project and how the project is being run.
Okay, you're all welcome to this August meeting. Yes, you guys have all spoken very well. We've received brilliant submissions. I mean, the essays that you submitted, they make a lot of sense. In the first place, the idea behind this project was because we wanted to see how best technology could actually touch the lives of people, not just people found in the vantage points like the cities and towns, but even people that we consider living in very remote areas that are inaccessible in many ways, either by wanting to reach out to the person on phone or by means of travel, access to a lot of things that these people actually lacked. Mostly we have people benefiting from technology when they are exposed. But what happened to those that are unexposed? How do we make sure that technology actually touches their lives? And so in the year 2010, when blockchain technology was launched, a lot of projects have been going on, which included the creation of cryptocurrencies, trying to see how people could be empowered economically, taking away the control systems that exist in our economic spheres. That notwithstanding, we still found it that, in fact, even we those who live in the cities that consider ourselves highly educated and exposed, most of us still did not reap the benefits from these cryptocurrencies because to some of us, we just didn't get access to it. To others, it's complicated to understand and to participate. So what happens to the village man or the village woman? It becomes difficult because in the first place, the person don't even have access. And in this world, there are only three ways to give you an opportunity. You have an idea, you create a product, whatsoever the product is, and you have the access to who is going to, enjoy the product. That's where you also gain value from. So that notwithstanding, in June 2017, I went into deliberations with a few number of people on the internet space about how we could get technological benefits to people that we considered living in deprived areas. And one, they were deprived of even smartphones. Two, they are deprived of even internet connectivity. Three, they are deprived of any kind of social life. They have to be used to whatever was within their circumstance. So we decided to run a charity organization, but we wondered, okay, if we want to run a charity organization, we could have philanthropists wanting to support, because and our target was we just don't want any philanthropists. We want philanthropists that are benefiting from the technology, the evolution, that want to transfer that to make sure that everybody gets a benefit out of the technology. But then, how are we going to do this? One of our major concerns was, well, are we going to set up a fiscal structure, employ X number of people to run the structure, get in touch with the people we want to support, we put them on salaries, etc. And that's what the traditional non-profit organization is into. Okay, but we realized that fine, on this technological space, we must make it very accessible, very trustworthy, transparent, and very favorable to even the donor. Because most of the times, if you look at the non-profit structures and their annual reports, you realize that almost in some cases, about 50% of their resources goes into administrative expenses, either salaries, rents, or whatever. Yeah. So the actual targeted person for whom the philanthropists give out this money don't get the full benefit. And so we decided that, okay, fine, technology grows every day, but as at the time, what we could have done best was to make sure that these people that we are reaching out to that are in remote areas could have access to internet connectivity. 2, they have access to smartphones so that they can deal directly with their donors. So we quickly carried out a survey, selected some households, 34 in all, and we gave them smartphones. All of them had a smartphone, and we set up a structure on the internet space called the paywall structure for the project, where a donor goes there and each paywall is specified. You come there, you can read that yes, this paywall is for maybe health insurance, for example. If you want to support someone get health insurance, you see a paywall and it tells you that this is for food. If you want to buy food for someone, you see a paywall and it tells you that okay, this is just basic income. Because our concept actually came out from trying to value what other people have already done, especially in northern Ghana. We have over 80% of non-profits in the country in northern region.
Yeah.
Yet northern region is still considered the poorest in the region. And the reason being that these non-profits are not channeling their resources in the best way. So we thought of how we could break this, and one of it was that, fine, we do not determine to the person we consider extremely poor what the person should do with his or her money, or what is due the person to get the person out of extreme poverty. I mean, you could be poor and knowingly poor, but you don't need, food as we speak. You don't have need for hospital bill as we speak. You don't have need for, something of which we might be offering you that. For example, the current project that Ghana government is undertaking, going to, I don't know whether they are distributing over 300 laptops to, more than, they are distributing, televisions to over 300 communities.
Yeah.
And you ask yourself, the person you think is poor and is in a village that you want to support, does the person need a television or food? Does the person need food, or the person want to go to hospital? Okay, so we decided that fine, then the best thing to do as at then was to run a basic income, where we give you the money unconditional and you decide what you want to use the money for. So this woman had their smartphones, and every weekend philanthropists, when they have time, go there and then donate any amount they want to donate. But we decided that initially what we were doing was you hold your phone, and when somebody donates to it, you see your money. But then we realized that some people could receive more donations than others. Because I come and probably your need is for food, and I feel like giving you 500 cedis. Somebody needs something, I feel like giving 100 cedis. And at the end of the day, you are all in the same project as project beneficiaries, or whatever we call them. In this project, we actually don't have a name for them. We consider them part of us. Then at the end of the day, somebody gets X amount, you get Y amount. So we decided that, okay, fine, let's have a leverage. So we told our beneficiaries, when you donate up to a certain limit, the technology will prompt you that this address has been fed already. It is satisfied. So nobody can send money to it. Now, what happened was now that the women have smartphones, but they still live in communities without network. So what do? They still need to come to the city, have their money accessed on the internet, have internet connection, etc. So that was another issue. Progressively, we found out that we could do something better. And just so unfortunate, we developed what we call the NFC wristband, or the near field communication wristband. That's the meaning of NFC, which every smartphone has this component on it. And this card, they were all underwritten by our technology that create a special address for the card, and we give it to all our households. So a household know that, okay, this is the wristband I have, and at the end of the month, the money is sent onto the wristband. And the households know how much they receive on their wristband. Now, one interesting thing is that whether you are in a village or wherever, whether network or no, you get it. You get the donation, it comes to your wristband. Now, because they know how much they've been sent every month, we now decided that, okay, fine. We shouldn't have everybody have the access to withdraw funds from the wristband. We should make it such a way that it can be trusted in a manner that he doesn't come to you with his smartphone because he have NFC on his phone. He can just quickly take out the money on your NFC device, because the device is enabled such that anybody who have NFC and have access to our applications that we developed, you can take out the money. So we make it such that, well, anyone could access these wristbands, check to see how much is on them. So a woman who lives in your house could wake up in the morning and tell her, hey, can you take this and check and see how much is on it, how much money I have. You can check it out if you have our POS application on your device, which has been marketed worldwide, said that anybody can own the application. But unfortunately, it won't allow you to make payment out of the device unless the person we have trusted to receive the payment from the device. So that gives you the possibility of customizing it, mitigating losses, and preventing theft. The wristband could be missing. I mean, it can get lost or whatever. We can replace that because our structure gives us access to whatever we have on the phone. Now, another beautiful thing is that organizations pay a lot of money to auditors and whoever to audit, their income and expenses. Let me use that because this could be either corporate or non-corporate bodies. Our technology again allows you to run a report on the technology. Whatever transactions have occurred from the day you started to whenever you want to generate a report for yourself. Just click a button, it generates a report explaining every item to you. Now, why is GiveDirect so important to us? One, because personally, I hail from a very poor background. I didn't find it easy going to school. And I just felt it wasn't enough for me to stay on the internet space making the money for myself. But I need to equally prevent people who went through what I went through. I mean, people who were about going through what I went through, not to go through it, if possible.
Presented by the Trusted Community Champion, that is how we structured it. And we are before. Now we are going to start with those who have worked hard and fortunate to have access to the laptops. That's the first four. And those who have also worked hard and fortunate to have access to the phones. That's also beautiful. So we'd like to call on Ben, is it clear?
Yeah.
I'm just standing here.
Yeah, I think so. We would like to call on the first person. Thank you so much for participating in our second competition. Khalid Suleiman.